Welcome, viewers and listeners, to the Identity Woman Podcast. I am your host, Chantelle Branch, Self Love Specialist. And guess what? I bring the gems when it comes to you. The Identity Woman podcast uncovers the denials and realities of trauma to help women progress through their healing journey. All right, well, welcome. As she said, I am Chantelle Branch, your self-love specialist, and I am so excited that you are joining me this afternoon. So I really just wanted to talk about living the good life. What does it mean for you and me and the women in our communities to live the good life? What do we need today? Think about it. We are post-pandemic. 2024, 4 years since our world literally stopped. Our world literally stopped. And a lot of things changed. People changed. Policies changed. Things changed. Laws changed. Our money, our financial situations changed, right? We also changed physically. We changed mentally, emotionally, psychologically. There are many people who are dealing with the fact of living alone, and now they're sheltering in place alone. Then there were those of us who have large families, and we are sheltering all together every single day. And so it was just many different things we navigated. We navigated groceries. We navigated our medical health, our mental and our emotional wellness was under such great attack. And there were just so many of us who were not able to just focus in and live the good life. I want to know how many of us are living the good life. What does it mean to you to live the good life? What does it mean to you to live the good life? So let's just talk about it today. Living the good life. Some of us may consider living the good life having a nice home or having a luxury home. It may look like driving a luxury car, a really fast car, or a car that suits your family's needs. Perhaps it is a Volkswagen. Perhaps it is a station wagon. No, they don't make those anymore. Perhaps it is a minivan or a SUV. I'm partial to a SUV. I do have a large family, and that's just me. I want to drive an SUV. That's my thought. The kind of car that I want to drive. Even my next car that I'm thinking about in my head is I want it to be another SUV, right? So living the good life may mean being financially or financially stable, or it could also look like having wealth, having generational wealth. That's a key word, a buzzword that's just buzzing all around, is generational wealth. Are you creating generational wealth? Is your business, is your home, what are you doing to have the wealth that you need? And when we think about it in 2024, think about it. When the world stopped, the price of everything literally dropped. I have designer clothes and shoes and bags and things that were $10. Things that if we walk into a department store, it's a easily $200-300, and getting it for $10, it was a steal. And now it's 2024 and we get to use and wear all of those things. But is it really transforming into the good life? Is it what you consider the good life? And so when we think about living the good life, if it's clothes, if it's financial, right? When we talk about the money, the cars, the houses, is it trips? Do you enjoy taking trips and going on vacation? And then is it your beauty care, right? I am 24 plus years in the beauty industry, hair and makeup, on set, offset, TV, film, in a salon. I've been all over, and I'm currently doing TV and film. And so for hair and makeup. And so, is it your physical wellness? What are you doing physically for your health? Are you a part of a gym? Are you joining a gym? Do you walk inside your community? Do you walk outside of your community, right? And so today I'm talking about living a good life, because We all want to do it. We all want it. There is no one that is listening today, or if you're listening to the replay, there is no one that is listening to Chantelle Branch, your self-love specialist, and saying, I don't want a good life. All of us want to live a good life, but what do we consider the good life? Is it spiritual? Do you desire to have a higher spiritual connection? Do you desire to have a connection that is in alignment with your thoughts and your beliefs and your culture? What do you believe to be the good life? Because coming down the road, in your 30s, it is like, I don't know what happens to us as women, but we're like, I need to be this. I need to have this. I want to look like this. I want to say this. I want to do this. I want to do that, right? And we're doing all of those things, right? And we are just literally trying to figure out our life, our dreams. Are they coming true? You're 30, then you're creeping up to 34 and 35, and you're like, oh my God, I have literally got to get my life together because I'm going to be 40 in 5 years. And then you start putting together all of these plans and all of these things, and you want them to happen, but they can't. They cannot happen until you have a good idea and concept of what it really means to live the good life. And that's why it's so important that when you think about your finances, it's 2024. We don't know what this climate is doing, this political climate, our weather climate. There are just so many things that are happening to us mentally and emotionally and physically and psychologically and financially. But until we learn to master ourselves in those areas, and it's hard to do all those areas at one time. But when we think about what do we need today, what do you need today, what do I need today? Because when you know you, you can make the best decisions for you. When you know you, when I know me, Chantelle, coming out of domestic violence, living in a shelter for 9 months, literally being stalked and having to make the decision of, I'm not going back. And I said it when I left. And because I started living in a shelter and I began to create a life that looked better than what I was in, then that is when I knew, okay, I got a little bit of strength. I got a little bit of knowledge, and I know what I need, right? And so I knew that I needed to stay on that path. I'm living in a shelter. I'm living about maybe 45 miles outside the city of Chicago, but I'm working in downtown Chicago. So my job did not end, but my home life changed. And so now I'm living about 45 miles outside of the city. I'm coming into the city. I'm taking the girls to daycare, and then I'm jumping on a train and I'm going to downtown Chicago, and I'm serving prominent women who are doctors and lawyers and TV more so news personalities, and I'm serving high profile women. And then there were women who were moms, who were aunts, who were grandmothers. It was mothers and daughters. And so I'm serving these women who, just when I think about it initially, were already teaching me the life or the action of self-care. And so I'm literally living this life every day. I'm going to the shelter, and I was doing this job because like I said, I've been in the industry now 24 plus years. And so I'm doing this job, but I wasn't conscious. I knew that I was serving women who had a different, who had a different tax bracket, but what I wasn't paying attention to was how they made sure that they came to the salon every 2 weeks, or women who were really maybe just into themselves, or who had a certain look that she needed to look like, she would come every week. And so those were the people that really helped us perfect our craft. We see them every week and we get to fix them. And then the women who were coming every 2 weeks, or the women who were coming every 3 weeks. And then there were the senior citizens who came, once a month or maybe twice a month, according to, her pension, her retirement, right? But what I was missing and I didn't become conscious of was that it was a self-care that they took time out. They were sure that I'm going to pay all of my bills, and I'm also going to make sure that I'm going to the salon, and I'm going to the beauty shop, and I'm going to get my hair done. And then there are the women who now today we do hair, we do nails, we do makeup, we do lashes, right? Like the list has grown, but how consistent are we getting that? Why? Because it was important, because it was affecting our emotional and our mental health. When you turn around in a salon and you go get a new highlight, a new color or cuts, or you go and you say you cut you have really long hair and you go from long hair to short hair, or you go from dark hair to blonde or highlights, or you become a redhead, right? Or simply you just had a long day at work and you are tired and your last stop is to the salon, and you came into the salon with a long week, you came into the salon with all of your problems, all of your thoughts, you came into the salon just battling emotionally, physically tired. But by the time you left, and even throughout your service, you began to smile, you began to laugh, even if you weren't participating in the conversations, but there were conversations happening, and there was a topic on the salon floor, and it made you chuckle. Or they were talking about that new TV show that was out, that everybody, did you watch it Thursday night or Wednesday night, right? And so it took your mind away from your problems. It took your mind off of that emotional and that mental turmoil that you were suffering in from work or from your family or from your children, or just even opening up your bank app and you're looking at your phone and you're like, oh my goodness, where is my money, right? But the salon was so pivotal on helping women with their emotional and their mental wellness. And so women can get their emotional fix when they came to the salon. So when they went home to their partners, they weren't waiting for their partners to fix them or give them that emotional peace, because they got it somewhere else. And so I want to encourage so many of us that as we are on the journey to mastering ourselves, is that we take that special moment to just stop and pause. Am I sad today? Am I mad today? Am I frustrated? Am I tired? Am I so tired that I have a quick temper? Am I so tired that I feel so much pain in my body, right? Am I physically sick, but I keep ignoring it, saying, oh, I just have a headache. Oh, I'm stressed out. What do you need to do today so that you can pay attention to the woman in your mirror? She needs something from you, and it could be emotional, or it could be mental, or it could be physical. For me, having a baby during the pandemic, my fourth child, and I have my oldest child in college, I am focusing physically on myself. I want to be transparent with you. And I want you to understand that if we're not admitting it to ourselves, there's no way we're going to admit it to the public or admit it to anybody else. But if you don't admit it to yourself, you can't solve your problem. If I didn't recognize that, hey, Chantelle, you are living in a physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financial, abusive relationship, and girl, you cannot take another black eye, you can't take another bloody lip, you cannot keep living like this. And I had to get to the place where I was so tired of what I saw in the mirror, so tired of covering my faces with covering my faces with makeup so that I can go into downtown Chicago and serve these women. I can't show up black and blue with a bloody lip, but I had to put makeup on and even more coverage to show up my best self. And it was during the time when I got into this relationship, and I'm seeing the women do this, but I didn't become conscious and know that I needed it for me until I got out of that relationship and I was in a safe space and I started rebuilding my foundation. I started figuring out, what does Chantelle need? Because now I'm looking at the woman in my mirror and I don't have to cover her bruises anymore. I'm looking at the woman in my mirror and I don't have to dry her tears of sadness anymore. Now I'm looking at the woman in my mirror and I am realizing that she is so valuable. She is so beautiful. She is worthy of love and without abuse. She is worthy of love that is not physical. She is worthy of love that is not verbal, that she is worthy of love and that she doesn't have to come home and give all of her money. She is worthy of living in a house that has peace. And I had to do it and look in the mirror at me again, because I didn't have to cover up the bruises. Now I can really see me. And it was in that moment that I began to rebuild and rebirth the me, the Chantelle. And I kept going through transformations after transformations and transitions after transitions until I became the version of me that looking back at you today. I couldn't be here had I not gone through that. I couldn't be here had I decided not to be intentional about the woman in my mirror. So I want to ask you today, what do you need? Because when you need it, you have to stop and recognize that I need it. And then after you need it, you got to say to yourself, I'm going to go and get it. Because the first thing is coming out of denial, recognizing I'm in an abusive relationship. It is never going to get better. I've been here for a couple of years now. And in order to get out, it's going to either be in the grave or I'm going to have to run. Those were my only options. And since I had saw the grave in this relationship, I knew 3 days later when I woke back up and I had breath and air and life again that I was going to run. And I put together a plan and I waited 3 days and then I decided to leave. My plan was just to leave. And then I made another decision and I called the 800 domestic violence number right here in America. I called the 800 number and it took me 45 miles outside of Chicago to safety, because once I got safe, I started to see me. And once I saw me, I got a little bit more clarity about the woman in my mirror. And then I began to do what was best for her. I started putting her in places and making decisions for her that benefited her emotionally and mentally and spiritually and financially and psychologically. I had to make sure that I was okay. Before I could do anything else, I had to take care of me, because I had 2 little babies looking at me. And all they knew that I'm their mother, I'm their protector. And I had to be not just okay, but I had to get to a place so I can rebuild. Because when we rebuild, we build a new foundation. No more cracks, no more holes, and we put boundaries in place to protect us, to protect our peace. And that is when we can become the ultimate version of ourselves. And so I want to thank each of you ladies today for listening. And I know that you're going to make the one decision that is going to change the direction of your life and is going to catapult you into your destiny, because you are worthy, because you are too beautiful to be missed, and because you value you. Thank you so much. I am Chantelle Branch, your self-love specialist. You can find me on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on TikTok, and on YouTube. I am the host of Identity Woman Podcast, where we uncover the denials and realities of trauma to help women progress through their healing journey. I am Chantelle Branch, your self-love specialist, and I cannot wait to chat with you again. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for making the decision to choose you. This is the moment that you choose you. So make sure you can connect with me on Instagram, YouTube. Let me know that you have that you're making your decision, that you're gonna put you first. And it's okay, and it's not selfish, but it's necessary so that you can become the ultimate version of yourself. In addition to that, I do host the Self-Love Parlor, and it is a community of women, and we come together for different types of events. So food therapy to art therapy to plant therapy. We do lots of things to just unplug from the world and plug into what we need emotionally and mentally. We focus heavily on those things, because those things, a lot of times we are led so much by our emotions. And so I want to make sure that we are showing up as our best selves, that we are doing what we need to do, what's best for us, so that we can be better for the people that we are in community with, better for the people at our jobs, better in our career, especially those of us that are coaches. If we're not plugging into communities and into the support systems that we need, then we're not going to be our best. We're not going to show up our best, and we can begin to hurt others when we're not taking care of ourselves mentally. Our tempers can get short. And that's not what we're doing. That's not where we are. Not in 2024. And as we go into 2025, as we stand as the best version of ourselves in 2025, we're conscious, we are self aware, and we are intentional. And we're intentional about our boundaries. We're intentional about our peace. We're protecting and we're cautious about our love. Yes, we love everybody, but we are cautious about who we are being intimate with, who we are entering into relationships with. And then we are also identifying what those relationships mean to us. What do the people mean to us? And so I want to make sure that we are doing and being and saying and becoming who we say we want to be. What woman do you want to be? What version of you do you want to show up in the world? Because you can think it, you can believe it to be true, but if you never do the work, faith without works is dead. You can have hope for it, but if you don't decide to take action, you'll never get it. If I never decided to take action, I never would have got it. I never would have got out of that relationship. I would not be the woman that you see today. I would not have become this version. It doesn't mean that I would have never become it, but I wouldn't have become this version of Chantelle had I not made a decision, not just to leave, but I had to take action on it. Because it was many times that I had left before, many times that I had left before, but I came back. And it was something that kept pulling me back and pulling me back and pulling me back. And it was those soul ties that sometimes we just don't think about, those soul ties that keep us connected and bonded to each other. And so if your ex can text you and call you and say, hey girl, WYD, what you doing? And it's something inside of you that begins to engage back and forth in that conversation, then guess what? There is still some type of connection, some tie that has not been broken. And we're going to do the intentional work. That's why the self-love parlor is important. That's why being self-aware is important. That's why when you pay attention to that one thing, when you leave this She Is Me conference and you're after hearing me, I just want you to think about that one thing. What's that one thing I need? What is that one thing that I need? What is that one thing that I need? I need to lose weight after having 4 children. No, not really after having 4 children, but after having my last child, right? In the pandemic. I need to lose weight, right? That not right. I don't need you to agree with me. No, just kidding. But that's me. That's me. I am conscious about it. It bothers me. It gets on my nerve. There's some clothes that I want to wear. There's some materials that I want to put on, but it does not work well with my body right now. But that's a goal, right? That's something that I want. I want that. I desire that. And I can want it all day long. And I can scroll and I can save pictures on my Pinterest. But if I never get out and walk, if I never go and get myself a bottle of water, if I never decide that I'm going to literally pay attention to what I'm putting on my plate, or I'm just going to keep letting my partner make my plate, or I'm just going to cook what I cook for the children and I'm going to eat what they cook too, what they're eating too. I'm conscious of it. I want it so bad. I desire it. I mean, I'm talking about something that you have to change, that one thing, that when you change this one thing, it's going to shift your life. It's going to literally catapult you into your destiny. When you change this one thing, when you do this one thing. When I got out of that relationship, I did that one thing. I pivoted. I shifted. I transitioned. I rebuilt the new foundation. I lived in a shelter for 9 months. I kept working and working and working and building on myself. And along came my husband. Wasn't looking for him, but he found me. He had been searching for a wife, and he found me. I am saying that when you make that one decision, your life changes, your life shifts. So you let go of something because something bigger and better and greater is coming. But the fear of staying right there, the fear of the unknown keeps us stuck there. I don't know what the future is going to hold. I don't know what 2025 is going to be. We don't know what's going to happen in 2025 or where we'll be 365 days from now in 2025 in the fall. We don't know what that's going to look like, but we have the ability, we have the choice, we have the decision, we have the time to make it happen. So let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. It only happens when you move. It only happens when you move. It only happens when you move. When you move, it will happen. When you move, it will happen. When you move, it will happen. It only happens when you move. It's time to move. It's time to move. This time, October 2024. October 24th, 2024. It is the afternoon. It is a Thursday. And I dare you, I hope, I pray that you're going to make that one decision. You're going to do it because you need it. You're going to do it because your life has to change. You're going to do it because you're desperate and because you're hungry. You're going to do it. You're going to do it. You are going to do it, and you're going to get it done. Why? Because you have power, you have courage, and you have faith the size of a mustard seed to do anything. Anything. You know the saying, if you put your mind to it, anything can happen. Because you thought it and you know that this choice is good for you, all you have to do now is take action. All you have to do now is take action. Take action. So I am Chantelle Branch. I am excited to be a part of this platform, the She Is Me conference. I want to thank you all so much, and I hope that you are able, because I'm not able to see the chat, but I'm hoping that you're able to drop that one thing that you're going to change, that one thing. And you don't have to necessarily, if you don't feel comfortable saying exactly what it is. I mean, for me, it's the weight. I'm going to drop the weight, I'm going to drop the weight. Because I don't have access to the chat, I can't type it in. But for me, weight, W-E-I-G-H-T. I'm going to drop the weight. I'm going to drop the weight. It's coming down. Because I desire in 365 days to look different. That when you see me next year this time, or you see me at one of the retreats in 2025, that I'm going to be looking different. I'm going to sound different. And then guess what? Guess what happens the more weight I drop? Confidence, through the roof, self-esteem, going up, smiles, going up. Why? Because when we feel better about ourselves, we tend to do better. When we feel better about ourselves, we tend to put ourselves in situations that make us better. We put ourselves in environments that are beneficial. We have the ability to see ourselves clearer, and we make better choices financially. We make better choices emotionally. We make better choices to plug into the situations, to the things that we need, whether it's therapy, whether it's, hey, I need to hang out with my friends. Oh, hey, I hung out with my friends. I don't think that I want to do the things that they do, or that we even have the same conversations that I want to have. I'm going to go and start plugging myself into some different communities. I'm going to start doing these different activities, even if I have to go alone, because I need to see and discover this version of myself. Because the connection I had with my friends from high school, the connection I had with my friends in the 20s and in my 30s and in my 40s and perhaps even in your 50s, maybe it's not the same, but the connections that you want are there. You just got to plug into those communities, because there's a woman in there that has the same interest as you. Maybe she lives nearby, you just never knew her, or maybe she just got to the area. But it's important for you to recognize, I need this. And if in order for me to be better, I got to go get it. In order for me to get through the grief of losing a parent, I have got to get plugged into therapy. There is such a beautiful thing about grief therapy. I really, really love grief therapy because it is short term. Sometimes people have, issues with going to therapy, right? But if you think about grief therapy, it is a short term aid to help you through the grieving process. But it is a necessary aid, and it is really recommended immediately after you lose a loved one. What if we, as women, can get to the point where we're literally like, My parent is transitioning. I'm conscious of it. I'm the parent. I'm the child who's taking the parent back and forth to the doctor. You're watching them decline. You're seeing them on a daily, weekly basis, and you're watching your parents decline. And you're hearing what the doctors are saying, and you know, even though you don't know the day or the hour or the time, that you can see that they are declining, and that you're going to have to make arrangements or take some responsibilities on these things, and that you begin to say, hey, you know what? I'm not, this is hard for me to handle. I knew that this time could come, but I didn't know that today would be the day, or last week would be the week, or I didn't know that my parent would get this diagnosis and I would be 35 years old as a wife with 4 children. I didn't know that I would have to now become and parent my children and parent my parents, right? And so we have to be conscious that it's bothering us. It's making us uneasy, or it's making us feel some kind of way. And we have to be conscious enough to say, hey, you know what? I don't feel good on the weekends when I come from visiting my parents. I think I'm doing okay. But then when I get alone at night, I get sad because I'm thinking about their end and them not being on earth with me anymore. And then you get up and you go to maybe church, or you go back to your parents, or you go and you just begin to do whatever you do on Sundays, or just have your relaxing time. But then the feeling comes back week after week after week. How long will you wait till you decide, you know what? I need to get plugged in. I am not doing okay. I want to get plugged in before even they transition. Now, hey, life can happen where you don't get that opportunity, and it happens all of a sudden, and you get a call, and you have lost your parent, or you have lost your sibling, or you have lost a child or a spouse, right? That's the moment. Even as hard as it seems, and the chaos and the things that are going on, if we become, ladies, listen to me, if we can get to a place that we are so self-aware that when that happens, that we can get plugged immediately into grief therapy, it is going to be game changing. It is literally going to save your life and the lives of the people in your family, the lives of the people that you are responsible before, because when we are self-aware and we know that this thing that I'm dealing with, the loss of a parent, or this extreme grief from losing a loved one, is going to take me over. And when it takes me over, I become irritable. I become short-tempered. The hairs on the back of my neck raise. My mouth becomes dry. I don't want to talk to anybody. I begin to shut down. I isolate myself. I hibernate for 2 or 3 years, and then I come out. And if you know that happens, but that's not a great path, and it doesn't lead you to a better you, when you are self-aware, you can know that that's going to happen because you already experienced it, and then you can go get plugged in. Think about it. Let's take it a little bit lighter, a little bit lighter, a little bit lighter, and let's take it to now. You broke up. You and your boo, it's over. You and the relationship is over. And you are devastated. You are in pain. You have had to sign divorce papers and figure out a divorce settlement, and you have had to split up time with the children, and it is devastating. And everybody in your family, they love you, they holding you up, they trying to help you with the kids, and they so mad at your spouse or whatever, or the ex-spouse, and everybody feels for you, but you're so angry and you're so irritable, but you're also so heartbroken. If you knew that you can go get plugged into a community, if you knew that you could go get plugged into therapy or to counseling, if you knew that you could go get plugged into a place that could give you temporary aid to just help your heart as you cope through this divorce, as you get through, because the thing is, you're going through it, and you got to go through it because the other person said that's what they want, and you have finally decided to go ahead and sign a paper, so you're going through it, right? If we knew how to get better after a tough breakup, if we knew how to heal our hearts faster, I want to know, would you do it? Would you do it? Would you put you first and decide, hey, you know what? I'm going to heal my heart first, because I know that I gave this man everything I got. When I left that relationship, I had given him everything I had, from losing an apartment to almost losing my car. I just thank God that I never lost my job to I had nothing. I'm literally coming from the salon, and on Saturdays I would give him all of my money. And it just baffled me, because that was the end, maybe the last 5 or 6 months in the end. And I just kept saying, why am I doing this? Why am I going through this? And by this time I had already made so many escapes, but I kept returning. He never came to get me. I kept going back. And so this time I'm like, I know I made it out, and I made it far enough. One time I went an hour or so, almost like an hour and a half away, and I'm like, he'll never find me there, and he didn't. And I'm like, I know I could escape there. I went to the town and tried to get information, see how I can get into a shelter there, and it just didn't work out. And I knew I had already built up just a little bit of strength. Like, if I made it out before, I can do it again. And sometimes we just need a little bit of strength, a little bit of aid to feel better in the process, so we can see just a little bit clearer. Because remember, when our emotional and our mental wellness is impacted in a positive way, it releases endorphins out of our brain. It lowers our cortisol level, and we can make decisions without emotions. How many of us ladies need to make decisions without emotions? If we can learn to do that, right? Because it just helps us be clearer. You can test it. You can literally make a decision in the next 24 hours and figure out which ones were made with logic and which one was made out of emotion. And that's why they've written all those books and say that men think like this and ladies think like this, because we do have that emotional connection, and it is tied directly to a lot of things that we do, almost everything. And so when we think about things logically, and we know that we have taken our emotion out of it, and especially when we think about situations and we're solving problems at work, they don't personally have anything to do with us. We do it easier, we do it quicker. Oh my God, that's a no-brainer, right? Those of us that are in marketing, and you think you're looking at an ad and you're coming up with a campaign, and it's like, oh, it's a no-brainer. When you're thinking about food, we're going to do this. And when we're thinking about glasses or clothing and fashion, we're going to do this, right? When we think about hair, we're going to do that, right? And it's a no-brainer for you. But when your emotions are tied to it, and when you are invested and connected, and when you are invested and connected and have put money into and time into a relationship, and suddenly it breaks apart and you become devastated, if you knew you and you know how it affects you because you've gone through it before, and you know that if I get plugged into this community, if I go talk to so-and-so, if I go talk to doctor therapist, if I go talk to doctor counselor, if I know that when I get plugged in quicker after I break up with somebody, or after a relationship ends, or when somebody close to me dies, when I go get plugged into them, I feel better faster, I recover better, and it allows me to make decisions that is not from a place of emotion, but from a place of peace, a place of love, a place of joy, a place of kindness, goodness, gentleness, meekness, strength under control, temperance, anger under control. When you can make those decisions logically, you're better off. That's why it's important when we think about that one thing that we just need to change, that we just want to focus on. Because sometimes you think of this one thing, there is no direct solution to it. But if I think about this one thing that I need to change, I know that as I go along the journey, it's a journey. As I go along the journey, as I go along the path, the solutions, the answers, the decisions can get better as I get more clarity about me. Your decisions can be better when you get more clarity about you, when you focus and pay attention to the woman in your mirror. That's when you become the best version of yourself. That is when you literally become the best version of yourself. And so that is it for today. I know I have closed. I did a Baptist close. I have closed my session down 3 times. But I want you encourage you to make the one decision that is going to change the direction of your life and catapult you into your destiny. Make the one decision that is going to change the direction of your life and catapult you into your destiny, because you are worth it, because she is worth it, you are worth it, and you so desperately need it. Thank you for listening and viewing the Identity Woman podcast. I am your host, Chantelle Branch, Self-Love Specialist. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Share this with a sister, a friend, a cousin. Share this with the one that you love, who you know needs to hear this message. Until next time.